I'm Catherine. The courthouse steps are burning beneath my feet, and the sunlight is glaring off the white stone. I'm gripping the file folder so tight that my knuckles ache. With each step, it feels like I'm shedding 1,000 pounds of shame. The lawyer is struggling to keep up beside me, breathing hard. As I recall, it all started at the reading of my grandfather's will. I was met with cold stares, as if I were a stranger, not a part of this family. There was no seat for me at the long oak table, and their smiles were as cold as ice. My family, the Harrington clan, is a well-known and wealthy family in our town. My father, Richard Harrington, is a strict and proud man. He always believed in maintaining the family's reputation and status. My mother, Elizabeth Harrington, is a woman who values appearances above all else. She's manipulative and cold-hearted, always putting on a show of perfection. My older brother, Alexander, is 28 years old. He's ambitious and greedy, always looking for ways to increase his share of the family fortune. My younger sister, Isabella, is 22. She's spoiled and self-centered, used to getting what she wants. The lawyer, Mr. Thompson, coughed nervously as he shuffled through a stack of papers. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice trembling, "but there's an issue." My father's lip curled in annoyance. "What issue?" "Mr. Thompson cleared his throat again and his eyes darted towards me. "Her name," he stammered, pointing at me with a shaking hand, "is the only one on the will." It was like a bomb had gone off in the room. My mother's face went as pale as a sheet. Her mouth snapped shut so fast that I thought she might bite through her tongue. Alexander's hands clenched into fists, his knuckles turning white. Isabella froze in the middle of taking a sip of wine, the glass tipping dangerously in her hand. My father's voice dropped to a menacing hiss. "That's impossible." Mr. Thompson pushed his glasses higher on his nose. "It's very clear," he said, "everything. The house worth $3,500,000, the bank accounts totaling $2 million, and the land is left to Catherine." I felt the air around me turn thick and poisonous. For a brief moment, a flicker of relief rose in my chest. But then I saw the way my father looked at me, as if I had personally betrayed him just by existing. "You weren't invited for a reason," he spat, his eyes burning with a strange, inhuman rage. I swallowed hard, trying to steady my voice. "Why?" Isabella slammed her glass down, the red wine splashing across the white linen tablecloth. "You don't deserve it, Catherine," she snapped. "Grandpa meant to give it to us." I shook my head, my heart pounding so hard that I thought it might break through my ribs. "That's not what he wrote," I said. "That's not what he wanted." My father stood up, his hands trembling with barely contained rage. "You're making a mistake coming here," he growled. But I wasn't going to back down this time. I straightened my shoulders and planted my feet firmly on the floor. If they thought I was leaving empty-handed, they were wrong. A shiver ran down my spine as Mr. Thompson slid the papers closer to me, his eyes full of dread. Before anyone else could speak, Isabella threw her napkin down and stood up. She practically lunged across the table, her voice rising in a shrill panic that made the chandelier tremble. "You can't just show up after everything," she shouted, her eyes wild. "You think you're owed this?" I stayed still, letting her words wash over me like stale rain. "It's not about what I'm owed," I told her, my voice even. "It's about what Grandpa decided." She let out a harsh laugh. "Grandpa was senile, Catherine. He didn't know what he was signing." Mr. Thompson flinched. "That's not correct," he stammered. I met with him personally many times. His mind was sound. My mother's icy voice cut through the chaos. "You shouldn't even be here," she hissed. "We made sure you wouldn't find out about the reading." I blinked, feeling the poison of her words seep into my bones. "You hid it from me?" My father didn't even flinch. "Of course we did," he said. "You're a disappointment. You always were." Something in my chest burned, then went cold. And you thought stealing my inheritance would fix that? He slammed his hand against the table so hard that the wine glasses rattled. You don't deserve that money. I looked at the papers laid out in front of me, my name printed clearly, undeniable. I do, I said quietly, because Grandpa knew the truth. Alexander finally spoke up, his voice dripping with disgust. You really think you can just take the house, the land, after we took care of everything while you ran away? My jaw tightened. I didn't run, I snapped. I escaped. His face flushed crimson, as if I had slapped him. You'll regret this. I stood up and gathered the papers into my bag with shaking hands. No, I said, now steady. For once, I won't. Isabella pounded the table again, splintering the wood. You're going to destroy this family, Catherine. I felt a twinge of regret, but then I remembered all the nights they locked me out, all the days they turned their backs on me, and all the moments they made me feel less. Maybe this family needs to be destroyed, I whispered. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat, avoiding everyone's eyes. Catherine, you need to sign to confirm acceptance. I nodded, taking the pen in my hand. A weight lifted off me as the ink touched the paper. Just as I drew the final curve of my name, my father's voice thundered. Put the pen down, he barked, the words hitting me like a gunshot. His voice was shaking, with rage, with fear, maybe with the realization that he couldn't control me anymore. I set the pen down slowly, deliberately, and then looked him dead in the eye. Why? I asked. So you can steal it? His jaw clenched, a muscle ticking in his cheek. You don't understand what you're doing, he spat. Isabella shoved her chair back so violently that it nearly toppled. Catherine, think about what you're doing, she pleaded. If you take this money, you ruin everything. I raised an eyebrow. Everything you built on a lie? She hesitated, her face twisting. We deserve it more than you, she choked. We stayed. We obeyed. You left. I let out a bitter laugh. I survived, I corrected her. That's different. My mother slammed her napkin on the table, her voice dropping to a low, poisonous hiss. Don't you dare talk about surviving. You wouldn't even have a roof if it wasn't for us. I stared at her, my pulse steady as a war drum. That roof had holes you never bothered to fix, I shot back. Don't pretend you saved me. Mr. Thompson shifted in his chair, clearly wishing he could disappear. Legally, the will is final, he stammered. I have to file it today. Alexander growled. If you do, you're siding with her. Mr. Thompson swallowed hard. I'm just doing my job. My father stood up, towering over the table. If you walk out of here with those papers, he said, his voice shaking, you will never set foot in this family again. My throat tightened, the old wound of being unloved threatening to reopen. But then I remembered Grandpa's letter, his scrawled words telling me I was the only one who ever saw him. I already lost this family, I said, each word measured. I don't need to lose myself, too. Alexander's chair crashed to the floor as he lunged towards me, his eyes wild. But Mr. Thompson jumped between us, his voice trembling. Don't, he warned. You'll regret it. Alexander froze, breathing hard, his fists clenched. I picked up the signed document and folded it carefully, the paper warm against my skin like a living heartbeat. No one was taking this away from me, not again. Just as I turned for the door, my mother's voice cracked behind me. Her voice ripped through me, sharp as broken glass. I turned, my hand on the doorknob, my heart thundering against my ribs. She stood there trembling, her mascara smudged, clinging to the table like it was the only thing keeping her upright. If you do this, she rasped, you will destroy this family. I let the weight of her words sink in, then shook my head. No, Mom, I said, my voice quiet but firm. You destroyed it the day you decided I wasn't part of it. Her face crumpled, a mix of rage and grief. "We raised you," she cried. "We fed you, clothed you. How can you turn your back on us?" My throat burned with the memory of cold dinners alone, birthdays forgotten, and tears wiped away in silence. "You raised me to survive you," I told her, steady. "And now I'm finally free." Alexander stalked forward, still seething. "You're nothing without us," he snarled. "No one will stand with you once they see what you've done." I squared my shoulders, breathing through the sting. "I'd rather stand alone than be a puppet," I fired back. "Mr. Thompson tried to cut the tension, his voice barely more than a squeak. "Catherine, if you want me to file this, I'll escort you to the courthouse myself," he offered. Isabella let out a strangled sob. "Please," she begged, "don't take everything. We'll have nothing." I swallowed the guilt like a bitter pill. "I had nothing for years," I reminded her. "And none of you cared." My mother stepped forward again, her hand shaking as she reached for mine. "Catherine, sweetheart, you don't understand." I pulled away. "No," I interrupted. "You don't understand. You raised me in your shadows and called it love. You made me believe I was small. I'm done playing that part." A hush fell so deep that it hurt my ears. I turned the doorknob, tasting freedom at last, when my father's voice thundered one more time. "Walk out and you're dead to us." I paused, let the ache settle, then turned back with a calm that surprised even me. "Then consider me reborn," I said, stepping through the doorway without looking back. As the door clicked shut behind me, I heard a crash inside, like the past finally breaking. Here I am now, on the courthouse steps, about to file the will. The clerk, a tired woman in thick glasses, glances up. "What can I help you with?" My throat goes dry, but I manage. "I need to file this will." Mr. Thompson gives her the paperwork, his hand steady now. "Everything is correct. All signatures are final." The clerk flips through the pages, scanning, then nods. "Looks clean," she confirms. "It will be processed today." A breath whooshes from my lungs, a mix of relief and terror. Mr. Thompson turns to me, offering a small, reassuring smile. "You did it," he says. "It's yours. Yours." That word sinks into my bones, so unfamiliar it almost hurts. Mine. My future. My freedom. For a second, a wave of sadness crashes through me. I can still hear my mother's voice, that poisonous sweetness, trying to pull me back. I can see Isabella's tears. But then I remember the way they'd left me out, the years of closed doors and cold shoulders, and I know this is the only path left. Mr. Thompson hands me a receipt, stamped and sealed. "Congratulations, Catherine," he says. "Your grandfather would be proud." I smile, tears finally spilling down my cheeks, unstoppable. "Thank you," I whisper. Outside, the wind feels cleaner somehow, brushing against my skin like a blessing. As I step down those courthouse stairs, a text lights up on my phone from Alexander. "You'll regret this." I wipe my face, my heart pounding, and type back only 2 words. "Watch me." And with that, I walk toward a future that is finally mine, leaving their poison behind for good. The ride back to the house feels like a dream I'd never dared to have. The world outside passes in colors so bright they almost hurt. My hands rest on the folder in my lap, the lawyer's stamped receipt still tucked inside. Every mile away from them feels like peeling off another layer of suffocation. As I pull into the driveway of my house, the house they had tried to erase me from, I see the front steps, the same cracked tiles Grandpa used to complain about, and I feel something shift in my chest. Home. I step out, my keys trembling in my hand, breathing in the quiet. No yelling, no shame, no heavy air, just a silence so wide it feels like forgiveness. I unlock the door and step inside. The place is exactly how I remembered it. The faint smell of old wood, the framed photos on the hall table, the echo of memories that had never quite been mine to keep. Until now. I walk through each room slowly, letting the truth sink into my bones. This is yours, Catherine. No one can take it away. My phone buzzes again. I hesitate, then look. A voicemail from Mom. I press play, her voice breaking, almost unrecognizable. Catherine, please. Think about what you're doing. You're tearing the family apart. We can still fix this. Call me. I close my eyes, letting the guilt stab at me one last time, then let it go. There is no fixing what they'd already broken. I wander into the kitchen, laying my folder on the counter, my fingers brushing the grainy wood of the cabinets. I can still see Grandpa making tea there, humming off key. For the first time in years, my shoulders relax. No one is coming to lock me out. No one is coming to tell me I'm not welcome. No one is coming to decide my worth. I pour myself a glass of water, and as I stand there, the house seems to breathe with me, a living, forgiving thing. Maybe this is the first day of my real life. Outside, the sun dips behind the trees, casting long golden shadows across the porch. And somewhere in that silence, I let myself believe I can be happy here. That night, the house is impossibly quiet, the kind of silence that stings your ears when you've lived with chaos too long. I move from room to room, checking every corner like a soldier on patrol, as if they might come bursting through the door to steal it back. But no one comes. In Grandpa's old bedroom, I find the small oak box he used to keep on his dresser. My hands tremble as I open it, half expecting to find it empty. But there it is, a faded family photo. Me, maybe 8 years old, clinging to Grandpa's side with the biggest grin, while the rest of them look away. I trace my tiny smile with a fingertip, my heart twisting. He'd known. Even then, he'd known I was alone in a crowded house. I sink down onto the bed, letting the exhaustion hit me like a wave. The clock ticks on the nightstand, steady and calm, not screaming, not accusing, just letting time pass. My phone buzzes again. Another message from Alexander. Come back. We can make a deal. I laugh, a sound so sharp it surprises me. A deal? After they tried to erase me? After they'd left me starving for love for years? I type back with hands that no longer shake. No deals. No more. Then I turn off the phone completely, letting the silence wrap around me like a warm blanket. Outside, the wind rattles the old shutters, but the house stands strong, refusing to fall. So will I. I close my eyes and let myself dream, really dream, for the first time in years, about painting the porch, planting flowers out front, cooking a meal that doesn't taste like pity. Tomorrow, I will go through the documents again, call the bank, change every lock, make this place safe, truly mine. No one will ever take it away. And for the first time, I realize I'm not afraid of what comes next. I'm ready to build a life that no one can rewrite, no matter how many times they try. Outside, the stars blink through the night sky, quiet witnesses to my freedom. And in that gentle darkness, I find peace. The next morning feels like a rebirth. I wake up with the sunlight spilling through Grandpa's old curtains, warming my face in a way I'd almost forgotten. There is no shouting, no guilt dripping through the walls, just the soft creak of floorboards beneath my feet. I pad down the hallway, still half in a dream, and step onto the porch. The air is sharp and clean, carrying the promise of something better. My phone stays shut off on the kitchen counter. I refuse to let their poison follow me into this new day. Instead, I sit on the porch swing, looking over the yard I'd once believed I'd never see again. For a moment, I let myself remember it all, the cruel words, the cold shoulders, the quiet tears no one ever noticed. Then I let those memories go. Grandpa had trusted me with this place because he'd seen something they refused to see. My heart, my strength, my ability to build something whole out of all their brokenness. And I will honor him, not with revenge, but with peace. I'll paint these walls in colors I choose. I'll fill these rooms with laughter I can believe in. I'll sleep under this roof, knowing no one can ever push me out again. If they come back for me, I'll stand tall. If they try to steal from me again, I'll fight. But I won't let them shrink me anymore. This is my beginning, my chance to write the ending they'd never allow me to have. For the first time, I want to live, really live.